This Zero module is designed to give you an idea of how our modern classroom will work. This video and this module takes you through a process which we'll be using in class for each of our individual lessons. So each lesson will start out with a video that I've recorded that will have questions that you answer using Edpuzzle and also have a note guide. So this part of the class is something that you do on your own. There's going to be class work included and group work in which I will be working with groups of students or individuals to help them learn the material. So in a modern classroom, it's considered to be blended learning because of the fact that you will access the content through videos, and I will be using class time to go around and quiz people, help them understand the material, meet with groups of students and reteach. It's considered to be self-paced instruction because students will work at their own pace. Some students will go through the lessons very quickly and do the mastery checks and spend more time on the aspire to do assignments. Other students may take more time in order to pass the mastery checks. The goal is that everybody in the class will have gone through the module by the time we take the test. In Skyward, it will be mastery-based grading, and so the students are expected to master the material or the standards. If they don't, then there's review, remediation, and retesting. So it is, their grades on Skyward are go from a 10 basically to a 4 as far as numbers, and they represent the percentages, and I'll go through that in just a second. Each unit's going to have a pacing guide, and that will help students keep track of their progress. So once they finish something, they will check it off their list. There will be 3 types of assignments in each module. One is a must-do. These assignments are required in order for the student to take the mastery check. Once a student has those done, they will come up to me and I will check and make sure that they're completed. Then I'll give them the code to unlock the mastery check. Mastery checks will be taken up at the front of the room and not at their desks. Should do assignments those are the type that are recommended that students do. They will be review exercises that will help them to pass the mastery checks. If a student takes a mastery check and they do not pass it and they have not done the should do assignments, they will be required to do those before another mastery check can be taken. They'll also be required to meet with me so I can check for understanding before they take it. Aspire to do assignments are fun extension projects that will allow students to research cases that they're interested in. So, for example, we do projects in a couple of the units where they can choose a case and they can study it and tell us what mistakes were made during the case in evidence collection or police work. When we do the crime scene investigation, they can rebuild or recreate an actual crime scene and do the measurements and use the skills we learned in that unit on the model that they created. So it's encouraged that students work through the must do and the should do so that they get to the aspire to do assignments. That gives them a little bit more in-depth learning and also gives them a little more freedom of choice. Grading policy in the classroom. Classwork is worth 10% of their grades. Tests are worth 50%. Labs and group work is 20%, and the mastery checks are 20%. Labs and group work are very important in this class. It's considered to be a CTE credit. It is a lab-based class, so the unit tests will actually include on them sections where they will be required to demonstrate that they know how to do the lab work. The way that the classwork grade works is that if the student does only the must-do assignments, their classwork grade for that particular lesson will be in the C range, somewhere between 70 and 79%. If they do the must-do and the should-do assignments, then their classwork grade will be in the B range, between 80 and 89%. If the student completes all 3 and does the must-do, should-do, and aspire to do assignments, then their classwork grade will be between 90 and 100% on that. Classwork, I do accept late work on that for homework. that it will be deducted some points on it if it is extremely late. But all work has to be completed before the unit test. Work will not be accepted once we take the unit test, because then we're moving on to the next module. The grades that will appear in Skyward will be standard-based grading, and the scale is a 10 to, it basically starts with 10. It's a 5-point scale. So if the student has an A, they will receive a 9 or a 10, and that basically states that they have exceeded grade level standards and they understand above grade level. If they have an 8, that's the equivalent of a B. That means that they meet grade level standard consistently and independently without help. If they have a 7, that's equivalent of a C. They mostly meet grade standard levels without support. If they have a 6, that's the equivalent of a D. They partially meet the grade level standards with or without support. And then a 5 is the equivalent of an F. They do not meet grade level standards or demonstrate minimal or no understanding, does not meet grade level standards. If you see a 4 in the grade book and missing assignment is checked, that means that I have not gotten the assignment. So rather than a 0, I put 4s in the grade book. It gives students the opportunity to make up those grades and bring it back up. Sometimes if there are too many 0s in the grade book, it's not possible to get it back up to the next grade. If you don't do your assignments, that 4 will affect your grade and bring your grade down. Some basic class rules. Do not be late to class. First tardy, I'll talk to you. Second tardy, I will talk to you and there'll be a phone call home. Third tardy will be a detention with me. And then fourth tardy and beyond are referrals to your administrator. Make sure that you come to class prepared. I do have outlets, but it's kind of a problem if we're working on the MacBook and yours is not charged. So please make sure you charge it at night. Probably my biggest rule is be respectful of both me and other students. If I'm talking, then you need to be quiet, and you also need to be paying attention and not be on your phone. So common courtesy is expected not only to myself, but others in the classroom. If somebody's asking a question or is speaking or giving it their thoughts during class, then you need to be listening to them, just as you would expect them to listen to you when you're speaking. Lab safety is important. You're expected to follow the lab safety rules. We will go through an exercise, a couple of exercises to help you relearn that. You will then take a lab safety quiz. If you do not follow the lab safety rules during class, then you will will not be allowed to participate in the next lab. No cell phones can be out on your desk unless you're on pace or ahead. So when I'm talking or we're going through a group activity and instruction, I don't want the cell phones out at all. If you are working on your own and you're on pace and you're doing a good job with using your time, then I don't have a problem with it being out on your desk as long as you're working. Every unit will have a pacing guide, and so it will list the assignments that you need to complete for the lesson. You can check them off as you go so you know what you've done. I will periodically come in and conference with you, check with your assignments before you can take the mastery check. So here's an example of the pacing guide for this particular unit. So it tells you what unit you're on, it tells you the essential questions, what's a modern classroom, how will our class be organized, what will we cover in forensic science, and what are the class rules, what do we know about our teacher and our classmates, and what are the lab safety rules for this class. So the Canvas page lesson we're going to do in class, so once we've gone through that on Thursday or Friday, you can check that off. This is the video that you're currently watching, so you are going to complete that and also your notes. So once you complete it, you can put in progress, you can put completed or not started. So it gives you an idea of how you are moving down here. Notice the lab safety video and notes is one of the should do assignments, but it's not required. The video does a good job of going through the safety rules that you'll be quizzed on. Everybody as a class will do the lab safety escape room, and then the last thing on there is the mastery test or your quiz over lab safety. So you can check these off as you go through. All of the assignments will be done on Canvas, so that you are going through and the module has everything in order, just like the pacing guide. So in order to hand things in and make sure that you are getting it to the right spot to be graded, it has to be completed actually on Canvas. So to start this off, you're going to go to Canvas and you're going to start working on your introduction once you finish this video. And you're going to add it to the class set. You will be presenting on either Monday or Tuesday, depending what hour you have me. Then once you do that, we're also going to be on Thursday and Friday working as a class on the lab safety escape room, and so you're going to get into groups and do that. If you have any questions on how this class works, how your grades work, please feel free to ask. I am available before school, seminar, and after school, and I do work. Actually, the academics first tutoring is in my classroom, so I am easy to find.